Lucas is with his daddy.
And remember, Spanish only with him, please.
Sherry said.
Oh. I travel around the world, and then I have always seen women suffering. And I started writing a story, but it was not Me También. But when Oprah, she was talking for the Golden Globes, she sparked that motivation to say my truth exactly as it is. I was never gonna be, if it wasn't for her, I would have never been able to speak it with such what I find the word, such raw emotions, if it wouldn't be for Oprah, and also inspired by the Me Too movement, Harvey Weinstein, which we all know. A little bit of everything, and then I thought that that's supposed to be my first film. I'm a descendant of Mapuche, and my grandfather would be so proud of hearing that, because in Argentina people tend to hide that, and I realized that that's who I am. Always knew it, and I've been very successful in the world because I recognize who I am. I am 50% at least Mapuche. This is a tribe that came from Incas in Peru and came all along to Patagonia. And my grandfather is very, you can see him very, very Mapuche, and my father is Spanish, so I'm that mixed.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
It is. It's a cool mix.
Yeah.
What's the role of the women in the tribe?
Well, it's always the same. It's just working and taking care of the kids and taking care of men shit. Because men, they go all over. And so, women always, they work harder, I think. And also, they had to be emotionally available for men and for their children. Don't forget that we are the mirror of those kids for life. So women always, that's what in Africa it was so clear to me. I see like women, they work so hard, and they have so many kids, and they have to take care, and they do it, and men, I mean, I'm not saying that men are evil. I encounter amazing men, and collaborators in my films are men who believe in women's rights. My DP, my husband, my composer, they are genuinely amazing men who empower women. But then there is the other kind of men who just tear us down. And empowering women is what's going to make this society strive, is a word, and make it better. So there is no weakness into empowering women. Men who empower women are stronger, and they gain confidence through that. So, we have everything.
So it sounds like you had a very supportive crew.
I had, I had been through others not very supportive crew, but thank God the path narrowed into people who really believe in women, and that's what I want to do. I don't care to work just with women. I want to work with people who have the same mentality, and it's the only way to make something great together.
No, Monica.
We can.
No, I can't.
I know people.
I am a single mother.
Okay, but a lawyer can
I cannot
make
afford
sure.
to lose this job.
We have to do this.
No.
My DP won an award. He was really supportive. I didn't know him. I just met him through the phone, through a friend. It's weird how we met. But he really liked and loved the short, and he knew that there was no short, they don't make money, right? But he did it for the cause, and he got more out of it than he could. It's more than money, right? He won money, actually. He won a prize with money. I didn't. But he got more empowered through the film, and doing it just, with the simple reason that he's a father of a daughter, and he's a husband of a wife. Yeah.
Did you find any challenges with a low budget?
all sort of challenges.
What kinds of challenges did you have?
I was doing everything. My film, if you see, I mean, it works perfectly with the character, but I was exhausted. I was doing everything, the clothing, the every part of it, and I'm like a control freak a little bit, and that helps until a certain extent. I was very, very tired because I had to do it myself. And thank God I had my husband is experienced. He will give me some notes, but everything of the story was in my heart, was in my skin, under my skin. So you can't, sometimes you cannot explain it by words. You have to explain it by doing the film, right? And I did everything. The locations is like a woman who used to work in my home. I asked her the house. Of course, we pay her, but on the other location, we have to fight every single bit of it. That was a very difficult film because nobody believes in somebody who is nobody, right? So it was very hard, very hard.
What was it like as a director and an actress to go back to that place mentally and try to portray it as you could as a character and as a control freak?
That is so, like, my next film is I'm not gonna act. Although people want me to act in one of the characters. So it was a very weird combination, and I wanted to take my time to go to places, but we didn't have money. We had to shoot. We didn't have 3-4 shots. No, it's like, get it and let's go, because the light is gone. We did the film in 3 days.
So what are you working on next?
I just finished writing my first film, a screenplay. It's called It Was Written. It's about a Latin teenager, a male Latin teenager, and it covers he's escaping his abusive life, and through his poetry, he works in a car wash. It's like a simple person who is an artist. And through his art, through his poetry, he finds the truth about his past and love along the way. And then I'm finishing writing a pilot about a woman dealing with infertility. And that is a dark one. So it's called Lady J. And it's good because it is another point of view from women. And I can't wait to show it to the world. I'm dreaming about it night and day.
This is Brett Reed, producer and editor of the film. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Tell us about your work on the film.
Well, I was the producer and editor of Me También. Valeria and I worked really hard in order to make the film happen. With a short film, it's always a difficult process. And there were a lot of obstacles to clear in order to actually get the film produced. And I also doubled as a set PA and caterer and everything else in order to make it happen.
What are some of the obstacles you encountered along the way?
Lack of resources, lack of personnel. We had to run around, find the locations. We had to do all the detail. We had another amazing producer, Jackie Carr, who worked with us, who schooled us on what we really needed to do, because Valeria wrote the script and we had done so much to envision making it happen and finding the people, but actually making the film happen. We needed someone to kick our ass a little bit, and that's what Jackie did. She came in and told us exactly what we needed to do in order to make it happen, and then we did. And there's a lot of sleepless nights, but it was all for good.
Do you think the attitudes are changing as a result of the Me Too movement?
Definitely. I mean, it's a different world in terms of entertainment and the attitudes about women and the opportunities that women have. I think it's still evolving, and I think it's still a process. And I think it will be amazing when we get to a point where we don't talk about a movement for female empowerment. It's just part of our society.
Who are some of the women who have influenced your life?
Wow. My wife. My mother, my sister, family. I worked when I was very young in the business with a producer named Kathy Kennedy, who's pretty well known in the business, and she was originally the model that I saw for a woman working in entertainment, being about her own force of nature, having nothing to do with the fact that she was a woman. She just was a great producer. And so I witnessed her a long time ago. My sister is a television producer as well, and she's amazing. She got me started in the business, got me my first job, and has been a mentor.
Her name?
Christy Ann Reed is her name.
So what does a producer do?
That's hard to define, but it's everything from working with a director to make sure that the script is exactly, the writer-director, Valeria in this case, to make sure the script is exactly where it needs to be in terms of being ready for production, finding other talented people to work with you, finding the DP and finding the composer, and working to find locations. We didn't have money for locations, so we were able to secure, one of the biggest pieces, the office environment, for free, based on favors. So I was able to secure some personal favors in order to make that happen, which really made the short happen. Once we had a location that we would never be able to afford, we had to make everything else fall in line. And then from that point, also being the editor, and then serving to go through the process of what do we do with the film once it's made, and where do we take it, and what festivals do we go to, and things of that nature. The film industry is absolutely going through disruption. Everything is changing in terms of the way people view cinema, the way that people approach going to the cinema especially, and there's been a big shift toward streaming and towards episodic content, and a lot of filmmakers who are traditionally only making films are now making episodic content because there's more demand for it. And so I think that as filmmakers, we're really trying to assess the landscape. I think there's more opportunities for smaller films, which is great in and of its own right, and telling complicated stories that require more money, more resources, is probably a thing of the past. I think that you'll have very big movies and you'll have very small movies, and it's those movies in the middle that seems like they're sort of fading away. But I think there's more opportunities for people to get into the film business now, which I think is amazing.